Imagine standing in the eye of a storm. The winds rage, the skies darken, and chaos unfolds around you. Yet, at the center, there is stillness, a calm clarity untouched by the tempest. This is the essence of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to remain serene and clear-minded, no matter how turbulent life becomes. In a world filled with distractions, pressures, and uncertainty, calmness and clarity are not just virtues, they are necessities. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus mastered the art of cultivating peace within, finding clarity in purpose, and responding to life's challenges with unshakable resolve. This guide will take you on a journey through the principles of Stoicism that empower you to achieve this balance. Together, we will uncover the tools to quiet the noise of emotions, sharpen your focus, and approach life's trials with wisdom and grace. By the end of this journey, you will stand not as a mere observer of life's storms, but as their master, grounded and unyielding. Lesson 1. Understanding calmness and clarity in Stoicism. Calmness is not the absence of chaos, nor is clarity merely an intellectual trait. In the Stoic worldview, calmness is the unshakable composure we cultivate amid life's storms. It is a state of internal steadiness, unperturbed by the external world. Clarity, on the other hand, is the sharpness of perception, the ability to see reality as it is without the distortion of fear, desire, or prejudice. Together, calmness and clarity are twin pillars of a balanced, rational, and purposeful existence. To truly understand these principles, consider a key teaching of the Stoics: events themselves are neutral. It is not the circumstances we face that bring us anxiety or confusion, but the judgments we form about those circumstances. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's greatest teachers, said it plainly: men are disturbed not by things but by the views they take of them. This idea invites us to take a step back from the rush of emotions and evaluate our reactions with reason and intentionality. Clarity, too, requires effort and discipline. It demands that you challenge your assumptions and strip away the noise of distractions. Clarity is not about knowing everything, but about understanding what is essential. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently reminds himself to simplify his perspective. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? This practice of questioning removes the clutter of irrelevant thoughts and allows you to focus on what truly matters. It is clarity that helps you navigate complexity, turning even the most challenging situations into opportunities for growth. To begin integrating calmness and clarity into your life, start with small, deliberate actions. When you feel overwhelmed, stop and take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it from your mental grasp. This does not mean ignoring the world, but approaching it with wisdom, focusing only on what you can influence. Similarly, practice the art of clarity by pausing to observe your thoughts. Are they driven by fear or irrational impulses? If so, take a step back and realign your perspective with reason. Another powerful method to cultivate these traits is journaling, a practice favored by Stoic philosophers. Writing down your thoughts allows you to identify patterns of overreaction and confusion. It enables you to clarify your mind and articulate solutions with greater precision. Calmness and clarity are not talents you are born with, they are virtues developed through effort and consistency. Like muscles, they grow stronger with use. By embracing the wisdom of the Stoics and practicing their methods daily, you will transform into someone who faces life's inevitable storms not with panic or indecision, but with strength and wisdom. Lesson 2. The power of perception, seeing events as they are. Perception is the lens through which we experience the world. It shapes our reality, governs our emotions, and determines our actions. For the Stoics, mastering perception is one of the most powerful tools for achieving calmness and clarity. It is the ability to strip events down to their bare essence, free from the embellishments of fear, anger, or desire, and see them for what they truly are: just events, neutral and indifferent to our preferences. Epictetus emphasized this idea when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This teaching reminds us that external events, no matter how dire or unpredictable, do not inherently possess the power to harm or disturb us. It is our interpretation of those events, our perception, that assigns them meaning. To live with calmness and clarity, we must take control of this interpretation. Stoic perception does not ignore reality, nor does it sugarcoat difficulties. It acknowledges the truth of a situation but refrains from adding unnecessary drama or emotion. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to remove the opinion from situations. If you are insulted, remove the opinion that the insult diminishes you. If you face hardship, remove the opinion that hardship is unbearable. What remains is a simple, clear truth: the event has occurred, and now you must decide how to respond. To practice the power of perception, begin by pausing whenever you feel an emotional reaction stirring. Ask yourself a series of questions. What exactly has happened here? Am I adding assumptions or interpretations that may not be true? How would I view this situation if I removed my personal desires or fears? This exercise forces you to confront reality without distortion. Over time, it becomes a habit, enabling you to remain calm and rational even in moments of chaos. Another Stoic practice for refining perception is reframing. Instead of seeing challenges as threats, view them as tests of your character. Instead of perceiving setbacks as failures, consider them opportunities to learn and grow. This shift in perspective not only reduces stress but empowers you to act with clarity and purpose. Lesson 3. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a profound yet simple principle: focus your energy on what you can control and accept what lies beyond your influence. This principle, often referred to as the dichotomy of control, is the cornerstone of a calm and focused life. The Stoics understood that by aligning our efforts with what is within our power, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and frustration, allowing clarity and peace to flourish. Epictetus puts it succinctly: some things are up to us, and some things are not. Our thoughts, choices, actions, and attitudes are within our control. External events, the actions of others, and the outcomes of our efforts are not. Yet, how often do we expend our energy worrying about the latter? How often do we lose sleep over what others think of us, agonize over outcomes we cannot guarantee, or ruminate on past events that cannot be changed? Acceptance does not mean resignation or passivity. It is an active choice to embrace reality as it is, rather than wasting energy wishing it were different. This mindset brings an incredible sense of freedom. When you accept that the weather, for example, is beyond your control, you no longer feel frustrated by rain. Instead, you prepare appropriately and continue on your way. When you accept that others' opinions are their own and cannot be controlled, you liberate yourself from the burden of trying to please everyone. The dichotomy of control also teaches us to focus on the quality of our actions rather than their results. Imagine you are preparing for an important meeting or competition. You cannot control how others will respond to your efforts, but you can control how well you prepare, how you conduct yourself, and how you handle the outcome. By directing your energy toward these controllable elements, you not only improve your performance but also protect your peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius captures this idea beautifully in Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength comes from knowing that no matter what life throws at you, your inner world remains your own. Practicing this principle requires mindfulness and repetition. Start small. The next time you face a minor annoyance, a delay, a rude remark, a change of plans, pause and ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Focus instead on how you can respond with grace and wisdom. Over time, this practice reshapes your perspective. You begin to see life's uncertainties not as sources of stress, but as opportunities to exercise acceptance and resilience. You stop wasting energy on what you cannot change and invest it in what truly matters: your thoughts, your thought character, and your actions. By mastering this Stoic principle, you unlock a profound sense of calmness and clarity, empowering you to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and strength. Lesson 4. The role of virtue in maintaining calmness. For the Stoics, virtue was not just a moral ideal, but the essence of a life well lived. Virtue, comprising wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, forms the foundation for enduring calmness and clarity. These principles guide our actions and ground us, enabling us to maintain inner peace regardless of external turmoil. Without virtue, calmness is fleeting and clarity becomes compromised. The Stoics believed that true peace comes not from external circumstances but from living in harmony with our values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." Virtue helps shape those judgments. It acts as a moral compass, keeping us aligned with reason and justice, and prevents our emotions from clouding our perception. Wisdom, the guide to clarity. Wisdom is the virtue of understanding what is true and acting accordingly. It allows us to see the world clearly, free from illusion or wishful thinking. Wisdom helps us prioritize what matters, discerning between fleeting pleasures and enduring fulfillment. When we are wise, we can make decisions rooted in reason rather than an impulse, ensuring that our actions reflect thoughtful deliberation. Wisdom teaches us to accept the unpredictability of life with equanimity. Instead of resisting challenges or fearing the unknown, we embrace them as opportunities to grow. This perspective transforms even the most difficult circumstances into fertile ground for clarity and self-mastery. Courage, the strength to face life's trials. Calmness requires courage, for life is rife with difficulties that test our resolve. Courage, in the Stoic sense, is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act rightly despite it. It allows us to stand firm in the face of adversity, to speak the truth when it is uncomfortable, and to persist when the easier path is to surrender. Courage bolsters calmness by reminding us that we can endure more than we think. When we confront challenges with bravery, we strengthen our confidence and trust in our ability to handle life's uncertainties. This resilience, built through repeated acts of courage, fosters an unshakable peace within. Justice, the anchor of a balanced life. Justice, the commitment to fairness and integrity, connects us to others and ensures that our actions are aligned with the greater good. When we act justly, we experience the calmness that comes from knowing we are in harmony with our principles. Justice also helps clarify our role in the broader world. Instead of being consumed by self-interest, we recognize our responsibilities to others. This outward focus alleviates the inner turmoil that arises from selfishness and greed, replacing it with a sense of purpose and balance. Temperance, the discipline to master desires. Temperance, the virtue of self-control, is essential for maintaining calmness and clarity. Without it, we become slaves to our impulses, chasing short-term gratification at the expense of long-term well-being. Temperance teaches us to moderate our desires, to seek satisfaction not in excess but in balance. By practicing temperance, we cultivate inner stability. We are no longer swayed by every whim or distraction, and we become more focused and intentional in our actions. This discipline creates a mental and emotional stillness that anchors us in the present moment. Virtue as the ultimate source of peace. The Stoics understood that a life rooted in virtue is a life free from regret, anxiety, and confusion. When we strive to embody wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, we align ourselves with our highest nature. This alignment brings a profound sense of calmness, as we no longer need external validation or material comforts to feel complete. Living virtuously also clarifies our purpose. We are no longer distracted by trivial concerns or petty ambitions. Instead, we are focused on what truly matters, becoming the best version of ourselves and contributing meaningfully to the world. To incorporate this lesson, begin by reflecting on the four cardinal virtues. Ask yourself, am I making decisions with wisdom and foresight? Do I act with courage in the face of fear? Is justice guiding my interactions with others? Am I practicing temperance in my habits and desires? Let these questions guide your daily actions. With practice, virtue becomes a habit, and with virtue comes the calmness and clarity that define the Stoic way of life. Lesson 5. Practicing mindfulness, the Stoic way. In our fast-paced and distraction-filled world, mindfulness is often seen as a modern concept. Yet the Stoics embraced mindfulness centuries ago, integrating it into their philosophy as a tool for achieving calmness and clarity. For them, mindfulness was not about sitting in stillness, but about cultivating constant awareness of their thoughts, actions, and surroundings. It was about living deliberately with purpose and staying present in the moment. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, frequently reminded himself to be here now and to avoid being carried away by unnecessary distractions. Confine yourself to the present, he wrote, urging himself to focus on the task at hand, rather than ruminating on the past or worrying about the future. For the Stoics, mindfulness was about presence, not just physical presence, but mental engagement with life as it unfolds. Why mindfulness matters in Stoicism. The mind, if left unchecked, is like an untrained horse. It leaps from thought to thought, dragged by impulses, fears, and desires. This lack of focus creates anxiety, confusion, and unnecessary suffering. Mindfulness, in the Stoic sense, reigns in the mind. It brings awareness to our internal world, our emotions, thoughts, and reactions, and aligns them with reason and virtue. Mindfulness also fosters clarity. When you are fully present, you can see things as they are, not as they appear through the haze of worry or distraction. It helps you evaluate situations objectively and respond with intention rather than reflex. Calmness, too, flows naturally from mindfulness. By focusing on the present, you avoid the mental clutter of regrets about the past and anxieties about the future. Daily practices for Stoic mindfulness. 1. Start your day with intention. Begin each morning with a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, what kind of day do I want to have? What challenges might I face? And how can I respond to them virtuously? This practice, often called the Stoic morning routine, sets a tone of mindfulness for the day ahead. 2. Pause before reacting. When faced with a difficult situation or a surge of emotion, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is within my control right now? How can I respond in alignment with my values? This moment of reflection prevents impulsive reactions and fosters calmness. 3. Focus on one thing at a time. The Stoics valued simplicity and attention to detail. Marcus Aurelius advised, do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life. Whether you are working, eating, or conversing, give your full attention to the task. This practice eliminates distraction and deepens your connection to the present moment. 4. Practice evening reflection. At the end of the day, take time to review your actions. Ask yourself, did I live in accordance with my values today? Where did I allow distraction or emotion to control me? How can I improve tomorrow? This evening practice, often referred to as prosocial or attentive awareness, helps you learn from your experiences and refine your mindfulness over time. Overcoming challenges to mindfulness. Mindfulness is simple in concept but challenging in practice, especially in a world that demands constant attention. The Stoics acknowledged this difficulty, which is why they emphasize the importance of discipline. Mindfulness requires effort. It must be cultivated like a skill. When you catch your mind wandering or notice yourself reacting impulsively, do not criticize yourself. Instead, gently redirect your focus back to the present moment. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Remember that every effort to practice mindfulness strengthens your ability to remain calm and clear-headed in the future. The rewards of mindful living. By practicing mindfulness the Stoic way, you transform the way you experience life. Moments that once felt overwhelming become manageable. Tasks that seemed mundane gain a new depth of meaning. Relationships deepen as you become more present with others. Ultimately, mindfulness brings you closer to the Stoic ideal of a life lived deliberately and virtuously. It anchors you in the present, allowing you to face life's challenges with calmness and clarity. As you cultivate this awareness, you begin to see the truth in Marcus Aurelius's words: the tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think or do. Only what you do. Lesson 6. Embracing the impermanence of life. One of the most profound practices in Stoicism is the contemplation of impermanence. The Stoics taught that everything in life is fleeting, from our possessions to our relationships and even our own existence. While this may seem somber at first, it is a liberating truth. By accepting the transience of life, we can approach it with greater calmness and clarity, free from the anxieties of clinging or the despair of loss. Marcus Aurelius captured this sentiment in his Meditations. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This reminder, often referred to as memento mori, remember you must die, is not intended to evoke fear, but to inspire gratitude and intentionality. It calls us to live fully, unburdened by illusions of permanence. Why contemplating impermanence brings calmness. Fear of loss is one of the greatest sources of human anxiety. We fear losing our loved ones, our status, our health, or our possessions. Yet the Stoics remind us that loss is an inherent part of life. Nothing we have is truly ours, everything is borrowed and will eventually return to the universe. To resist this truth is to invite unnecessary suffering. By embracing impermanence, we shift our perspective. Instead of taking things for granted, we begin to cherish them. Instead of fearing the inevitable, we learn to accept it with grace. This acceptance does not mean indifference. On the contrary, it allows us to engage more deeply with life, knowing that each moment is precious and unique. How clarity emerges from impermanence. Acknowledging the transient nature of life helps us focus on what truly matters. Many of our daily worries and distractions lose their grip when viewed through the lens of impermanence. Does it truly matter if someone criticizes you? Will the material possessions you covet bring lasting happiness? When you recognize that everything fades, you gain clarity about what deserves your attention, your character, your actions, and the relationships you nurture. Stoic practices for embracing impermanence. 1. Meditate on mortality. Regularly remind yourself of your own mortality and that of those around you. This is not a morbid exercise, but a way to deepen your appreciation for life. When you wake up, consider, today could be my last day. How will I spend it wisely? 2. Practice non-attachment. As you go about your day, remind yourself that everything you have is temporary. When you hold an object or enjoy a moment, silently acknowledge, this is not mine to keep. This practice helps you savor experiences without clinging to them. 3. Visualize loss. The Stoics encouraged a practice called premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. Imagine losing something you value, a relationship, a possession, or an opportunity. This exercise prepares your mind for loss and makes you more resilient when it occurs. It also enhances your gratitude for what you still have. 4. Live fully in the present. When you accept impermanence, you naturally become more present. Instead of dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, you focus on making the most of now. As Epictetus advised, do not hope that events will turn out the way you want, but welcome events in whichever way they happen. The liberation of acceptance. This understanding also helps you face adversity with calmness. If you lose something or someone, you do not deny the pain but accept it as part of life's natural cycle. You grieve, yes, but without bitterness or despair. A life of gratitude and purpose. Impermanence teaches us to appreciate the present and to focus on what we can control, our actions, virtues, and the legacy we leave behind. It inspires us to live with purpose, knowing that our time is limited. Each moment becomes an opportunity to practice courage, justice, and kindness. As you contemplate the impermanence of life, you will find yourself becoming more grounded, more grateful, and more at peace. You will see that true calmness and clarity come not from avoiding life's truths, but from embracing them fully. Lesson 7. The art of detachment, letting go of unnecessary attachments. The Stoics believe that one of the greatest sources of human suffering is attachment, our tendency to tie our happiness, peace, and sense of self to things, people, or outcomes outside of our control. We are attached to our possessions, our achievements, our relationships, and even our very identities. While attachment itself is not inherently harmful, the Stoics taught that when these attachments become sources of dependence, anxiety, and suffering, they compromise our inner calmness and clarity. True freedom, the Stoics believed, is found in detachment, not from the world, but from the need to control, possess, or cling to it. Marcus Aurelius reflects on this in his Meditations. You are a part of the whole. You cannot be detached from the whole, but you can detach yourself from the things that bind you within the whole. This powerful statement encapsulates the Stoic belief that we are part of a larger universe, interconnected with everything and everyone, but that our personal attachments can cause us to lose sight of this greater connection. Detachment is not about rejecting the world, it is about removing the emotional bonds that create inner turbulence. Understanding attachment. Attachment is the emotional bond we form with external things, people, or experiences. It often begins with a desire for approval, for material possessions, for love, or for status. At first, these desires appear harmless, even natural. However, the Stoics warned that when we cling too tightly to these desires, they become expectations. And when those expectations are unmet, we suffer. Think about a person who places their happiness in the hands of another. If that person fails them through abandonment, betrayal, or simple indifference, the result is often emotional devastation. Likewise, when someone attaches their worth to success or material wealth, they are always at the mercy of external circumstances. Success may come today, but it may not be guaranteed tomorrow. And when the inevitable changes arrive, those who are overly attached to the outcomes will experience profound distress. Epictetus famously said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When we are attached to something, we bind our peace to forces outside ourselves." The Stoics believe that true freedom is achieved when we detach our happiness from these fleeting, unreliable sources and instead place our focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and virtues. The benefits of detachment. When you practice detachment, you experience greater emotional resilience. External events, no matter how challenging, no longer have the power to disturb your inner peace. Relationships, while important, do not define your worth. Achievements, though meaningful, do not determine your value. The Stoic practice of detachment allows you to navigate life's vicissitudes with steadiness and clarity. Detachment also promotes deeper relationships. When you release the expectation that others must behave in certain ways or meet specific needs, you can appreciate them for who they are rather than for what they provide you. Instead of clinging to others for validation, you can offer genuine love and care, free from the need for reciprocation. This creates a space for authentic connection. Furthermore, detachment fosters clarity. When we are not emotionally entangled with our desires, we can think more clearly and act more deliberately. We are less likely to be swept away by impulse or fear, and more likely to make choices rooted in wisdom and virtue. How to practice detachment in daily life. 1. Acknowledge your attachments. The first step in practicing detachment is to become aware of your attachments. Reflect on what you hold dear. What do you rely on for your happiness, your sense of security, your self-worth? Are there people, things, or outcomes you depend on too much? Once you identify these attachments, you can begin to loosen their hold on your mind and heart. 2. Understand the transience of all things. Reflect on the impermanence of everything in life. Your possessions, relationships, and even your own body are temporary. This is not a pessimistic view, but a realistic one. The more you internalize the transient nature of all things, the less you will cling to them. Remember, your happiness does not depend on the permanence of anything external. 3. Practice non-attachment in small ways. Start with small acts of detachment. Perhaps, for example, you feel an urge to check your phone every few minutes, or you become agitated when your plans are disrupted. Begin practicing detachment by allowing these small irritations to pass without emotional investment. Instead of resisting, accept the disruption and observe how you feel. Practice this non-attachment to everyday things, and gradually you will begin to detach from larger attachments. 4. Cultivate self-sufficiency. The Stoics believed that true happiness is found within, not in external circumstances. Cultivate self-sufficiency by developing inner resources, wisdom, virtue, and emotional resilience. Learn to rely on your own thoughts and actions rather than external validation. This inner strength will help you maintain calmness regardless of what happens around you. 5. Embrace discomfort. Detachment often requires embracing discomfort and letting go of your need for control. Practice stepping outside of your comfort zone, even in small ways. The more you detach from your desires and attachments, the more you will realize that discomfort is temporary and does not dictate your well-being. Detachment and the Stoic practice of indifference. In Stoic philosophy, detachment is often linked to the concept of apatheia, a state of inner peace and freedom from passion. Apatheia does not mean apathy or indifference to life. Rather, it is a state in which you are not governed by uncontrolled emotions or desires. It is the ability to engage with the world fully without being emotionally swayed by it. The Stoics practiced apatheia through the cultivation of virtue and the understanding that their peace was never dependent on the external world. They knew that life would present challenges, loss, betrayal, failure, but they also knew that how they responded was within their control. By detaching from the need for control over external events, they could maintain their inner calmness regardless of circumstances. The ultimate freedom of detachment. The ultimate freedom that comes from detachment is the freedom to live authentically. Without the weight of external attachments, you can live according to your own values and principles, without being swayed by the opinions of others or the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. This is the freedom of the wise, the Stoic, who is anchored in virtue and guided by reason. By letting go of unnecessary attachments, you make space for a deeper, more meaningful connection to life. You no longer live in pursuit of validation or external approval. Instead, you live in pursuit of wisdom, integrity, and inner peace. In this space, clarity emerges, and calmness becomes a natural consequence of the practice. Lesson 8. The power of perspective, reframing challenges. Epictetus famously taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This profound statement encapsulates the Stoic approach to adversity. When faced with challenges, the Stoics didn't see misfortune as something to fear or avoid. Instead, they viewed it as an opportunity to exercise virtue, strengthen character, and practice wisdom. The ability to shift our perspective, to reframe a challenge, can transform obstacles into stepping stones toward greater clarity and calmness. Why perspective is key in Stoicism. In life, We cannot always control what happens to us. We cannot control the actions of others, the weather, or the course of events beyond our influence. But we do have control over how we choose to see and interpret these events. The Stoics taught that our judgments, shaped by our beliefs and thoughts, determine our emotional responses. For example, if you perceive an inconvenience as a personal affront or a crisis, you will likely feel frustration or anger. However, if you reframe the situation as an opportunity to practice patience or flexibility, you will experience calmness instead of distress. This concept is central to Stoic philosophy, where the goal is to cultivate a mindset that focuses on what we can control, our thoughts, reactions, and actions, other than being swept away by the things we cannot control. By altering our perspective, we gain the power to change how we experience the world. How to reframe challenges in Stoic practice. 1. Practice negative visualization. One of the Stoic techniques for reframing is negative visualization, or imagining the worst-case scenario. While this may sound counterintuitive, it is actually a tool for reducing fear and anxiety. By mentally preparing yourself for potential challenges, you become less likely to be overwhelmed by them when they arise. For example, imagine losing your job. Instead of panicking at the thought, consider the possibilities. How might you respond if this were to happen? What strengths do you have that could help you navigate such a loss? This exercise shifts your mindset from one of fear to one of preparedness and resilience. 2. See obstacles as opportunities. Every challenge, hardship, or setback is an opportunity for growth. The Stoics believe that adversity reveals our character and offers a chance to practice virtue. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, look for ways in which they can help you cultivate qualities such as patience, perseverance, or wisdom. For instance, if you are faced with a difficult work project or personal problem, instead of feeling overwhelmed, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this experience? By reframing obstacles in this way, you change your emotional response from frustration or helplessness to curiosity and determination. 3. Focus on the present moment. Stoic reframing also involves detaching from the past and future. When we are caught in regret over what has happened or worry about what might happen, we often forget that the present moment is the only time in which we can act. Practice grounding yourself in the present. When faced with a challenge, ask, what is within my control right now? By focusing on the present, you free yourself from the weight of past mistakes or future anxieties. 4. Use Stoic quotes to reframe your mindset. The Stoics themselves use their own words to remind them of the right perspective. Marcus Aurelius would often repeat the mantra, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words helped him shift his perspective when faced with difficulty. Adopt your own mantra or quote to help you reframe challenges. The benefits of reframing challenges. Reframing challenges according to Stoic principles offers multiple benefits. First, it reduces stress and anxiety. When you see obstacles as opportunities for growth, you take away their power to overwhelm you. Second, reframing empowers you. It reminds you that you are in control of how you perceive and respond to events, even if you are not in control of the events themselves. This gives you a sense of agency and freedom, which are crucial for maintaining inner calmness. Finally, reframing fosters clarity. By adjusting your mindset, you gain the ability to see situations more objectively, without the distortion of fear, anger, or frustration. This allows you to respond to challenges with wisdom and virtue. Lesson 9. The practice of self-reflection. Understanding your own mind. The Stoics placed great emphasis on the practice of self-reflection, seeing it as a cornerstone of both wisdom and personal growth. For the Stoic, understanding oneself is not a mere intellectual exercise, but a vital practice for cultivating clarity, purpose, and virtue. Self-reflection allows us to examine our thoughts, emotions, and actions in a detached, objective way, helping us to align our behaviors with our values and principles. Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This wisdom is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. If we do not understand ourselves, our desires, impulses, and reactions, we cannot live with true purpose or in accordance with virtue. By regularly reflecting on our thoughts and actions, we gain greater insight into our character and can make conscious choices that lead to greater calmness and clarity. The importance of self-awareness in Stoicism. Self-awareness is the foundation of Stoic practice. It allows us to recognize when we are acting in ways that are inconsistent with our values and helps us course correct. Without self-awareness, we live reactively, allowing external events to dictate our emotional responses and behaviors. We become victims of our impulses, unable to maintain the inner calmness that Stoicism teaches. By becoming more aware of our inner life, we gain the ability to break free from destructive patterns. We begin to see when we are driven by negative emotions, irrational beliefs, or unhealthy attachments. This awareness empowers us to make wiser choices, ones that are more aligned with our true nature and our Stoic principles. How to practice self-reflection in Stoicism. 1. Daily journaling. One of the most powerful tools for self-reflection is journaling. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius were known for their habit of writing down the frighting. The act of journaling forces us to slow down and examine our emotions and behaviors with a sense of detachment. When you sit down at the end of the day to write, ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short? How can I improve tomorrow? This practice helps you to identify patterns in your thinking and behavior. Are you often frustrated by things outside your control? Do you react impulsively to situations? By bringing these tendencies into conscious awareness, you can begin to challenge and change them. 2. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is a form of self-reflection that involves being present and aware of your thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations in the moment. Stoicism encourages us to observe our inner world without judgment or attachment. When you feel an emotion arise, whether it is anger, sadness, or joy, simply observe it. Ask yourself, what triggered this feeling? Is this emotion aligned with reason and virtue? What would a wise person do in this situation? By practicing mindfulness, you cultivate a deeper understanding of your automatic reactions and emotional responses. This allows you to respond with intentionality rather than being swept away by your impulses. 3. The view from above. The Stoics often practiced a technique called the view from above. This exercise involves mentally stepping back from a situation to gain perspective. Imagine yourself rising above your current circumstances and looking at your life from a higher vantage point. What seems significant in the moment may appear trivial from a broader perspective. This exercise allows you to see your problems in context, helping to reduce emotional intensity and bring clarity. For example, if you are facing a difficult decision or a challenging moment, take a moment to mentally distance yourself. Look at the situation as if you were a detached observer. How would a wise Stoic philosopher see this? What would they advise you to do? 4. The practice of self-examination. Socrates famously said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." This principle was central to Stoic practice. Self-reflection is not just about understanding our emotions, but also about examining our beliefs, values, and actions. Are we living in accordance with our highest principles? Are we consistently acting with courage, justice, wisdom, and moderation? In your daily reflection, take time to examine your actions and decisions. Did you act with integrity today? Were your thoughts and behaviors aligned with your Stoic virtues? This type of self-examination leads to continuous improvement and self-mastery. 5. Engage in solitude. The Stoics understood the importance of solitude for self-reflection. In the noise of daily life, it is easy to lose touch with our inner selves. Solitude allows us to tune out distractions and engage in deep reflection. Take time each day to be alone, without distractions. Whether it is through walking in nature, sitting in silence, or meditating, this time allows you to reconnect with your thoughts and emotions. In solitude, you can gain insight into your true desires and motivations. You can better understand the causes of your stress or anxiety and find the space to recalibrate your thoughts and responses. The benefits of self-reflection. The practice of self-reflection brings many benefits. First, it fosters greater self-awareness. The more you reflect on your thoughts and actions, the more you understand the inner workings of your mind. This awareness allows you to spot negative patterns before they control you and to make conscious, deliberate choices. Finally, self-reflection cultivates humility and acceptance. By regularly examining your thoughts and actions, you are reminded that no one is perfect and that growth is a continual process. You learn to accept your flaws with compassion while striving to improve. This creates a sense of inner peace, knowing that you are on the path to self-mastery.